Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. On today's episode, I am sitting down with, in COVID days, I'm Zooming with, because that's the best we can do these days outside of the studio. But it's great because this young woman, amazing businesswoman is in Arizona. So I'm happy that we could do this for far distance away. I can never always speak in these. It's crazy. But anyways, I'm excited. She is actually a best-selling author and a TEDx speaker. And she has a business that really guides people through how to become an influencer, how to give a TED Talk. How do you prepare for that? How do you get into that? How do you build a brand as a business? Maybe you're listening going, I have this idea and I'm not sure where to start, or I'd really like to brand myself, but I'm not sure how to do it. Or I want to give a talk because I feel like I have an interesting story that can help people. So all the questions that, I have, but I'm hoping that you guys all have the same questions that can kind of help you and guide you on your business journey or your everyday journey, whatever that may be for you. So with that being said, I'm going to bring on my very special guest for today, Parul Agrawal. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Madison. How are you? Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. We try to keep it casual and cool, but trying to educate people. So I'm going to kind of go at this with like questions that I have that people might have as well, where on your website, which is your name, parulagrawal.com, and all this information will be on our website under her episode at nexttomadison.com, so you can easily find that. You talk about teaching people how to be an influencer. And that's such a buzzword today. So can you kind of walk us through that process a little bit of what you can share?
Absolutely. Would love to. And influencer is a buzzword, but I also like to call it sharing your message, because I strongly believe each person has their own genius and a unique way, or a unique, even if you're podcasting, whether you're an author, but you have your unique way of doing things, you have a unique message, and it's more about sharing that unique message with the world. I mean, in fancy terms, in digital marketing terms, we can call it influencer or being, out there. But at the core of it, it's all about what do you have in you and how do you actually bring it across to the world.
Now, that's a great question, because some people might be listening and saying, well, how do I know what my brand is?
That is wonderful. And that is what my TED Talk is all about, which is called Engineering Your Passion. The title of the TED Talk is Engineering Your Passion, because these days, most of us are so lost because of all these, distractions, I would say.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So there is a way. So most of us are so lost, we don't even really know what our passion is. We don't even know what we're really passionate about. So then firstly, we have to find our passion, and then we have to find what we really want to brand us as. So these two things, go hand in hand, but we need to have that clarity, I would think, to really figure out what we really want to brand us as. And that's why I came up, because, I don't know if you read my bio, but I am actually an engineer, a material scientist, so to speak, right? So this is not really, so to speak, quote unquote, my field of education, right? It's not really my field of education, but it's my field of choice and passion, right? Helping people, writing books is what I really do out of passion. And then I started doing it because I wanted to break down that corporate chain, not climb the corporate ladder. I wanted to live life on my own terms. And I found out that I was really good at it, and I could actually make a lucrative career out of it, right? So I believe
great.
all about finding that inner voice it all begins with that core. And that's what I talk about. Like, I came up with this equation because of my engineering background. Mind plus body multiplied by soul is equal to passion. So if you have your mind,
Okay.
body integrated really well with what you really want at the core soul level, you can find your passion. And once you know your passion, everything else falls in place on its own, honestly speaking.
That's amazing. So what if somebody's listening to this and says, I've got this great job in, let's say, finance. It's paying me well. It covers my bills. But I'm not passionate about it. I like the lifestyle it provides, but I'm not passionate. But I don't really know what I'm passionate about. Maybe I'm passionate about money because I'm working this job. How would one start? Because you say the mind and the body, mind plus the body multiplied by the soul equals the passion. That sounds amazing. But to dumb it down completely, how do you do that exactly?
True. That's a wonderful question, Madison. And again, going back to my personal experiences, because I come from a corporate, and it was not easy for me to really lead that, lucrative job and that
Yes.
lifestyle, and then just I have a family, I have children. So, you have to think about all these also. You cannot like take rash decisions and really at the end of the day find out, oh my god, what a bad decision I made. So that's why so when I talk about mind plus body plus soul, I always tell people like, hey, the first and foremost thing that you can do uh, is to detox your body, cleanse, fast. And this might be
Oh,
counterintuitive because uh, how does fasting helps me find my passion? But it does, because what happens, and more research is coming out, that our brain health is actually our gut health, right? If we have all these parasites or infections or viruses sitting in our gut, they're sending all these wrong signals to our brain. So at the end of
wow.
the day, we are not able to take the right decision for us, correct? Because
Yeah, but I didn't even think about that. And I feel like nobody would really think about, like, wow, like if you really want to find your passion, your first step is to detox.
everything is within you. You don't have to go to
Yes.
outside sources, correct? So
So true.
the first thing would be like, hey, detox. And people think, oh, I'm detoxing because I want to lose weight or want to look healthy. I'm on a ketogenic diet, on a raw diet. This, yes, all that happens automatically. I would say that's like a side effect of detox. But the most important thing is you are in sync, in tuned with your body. You are making that gut brain connection, mind body connection by going on fast. In fact, this has been documented. Most of the hermits, sages, most of the CEOs in our
Yeah.
modern day times, they always go on fasting and detoxing when they have to take any important business or financial decision, where they cannot. I mean, Steve Jobs was really popular, and he before any financial decision, he would go on a fast detox. He was anyway a fruitarian, but he would also go on these fasts because at that time he doesn't want any influence from the outside sources. He wants to listen to his inner self and inner core, and make the right kind of decision for his business. And all of us know Apple is one of the most successful companies in today's times.
I mean, my mind is blown right now because I never would have guessed that. I'm sure you guys, like, my mouth was just dropped open because I was like, oh my gosh. So you're talking about fasting, which I've heard a lot about, but it's a challenge because you get hungry. How many days does one have to fast to get that full detox benefit and to really get in touch with the mind, with the soul?
So ideally, what they say biologically, your body takes 3 days to change from acidic to alkaline, right? So
Okay.
it's like a 3 days period. And those are the 3 days when your body would probably experience most of these detox symptoms. But after 3 days, it's a little bit easier. So of course, I mean, we cannot go on a 21-day detox all of a sudden, even though people have done that. So what I normally recommend is start with 1 day fasts, And even if you could do one day every week, that's also helping you get in tuned with your inner core, right? Because at that point, what happens, Madison, is 60% of your body's energy is used in digesting the food. So let's say even if
Wow.
you are not eating for one day, you are saving that 60% of energy in healing, repairing, rejuvenating your cells,
Yeah.
really at the cellular level, right? So now that 60% of energy, you are just conserving it, and then you are using it to basically heal your body. And once your body starts healing, once your gut line starts healing, you start making the right kind of decisions. So it's a process. It doesn't
Wow.
happen overnight, but it happens.
Oh my God. Okay. So when you're doing, like for me, I've always heard, yeah, you should fast one day, give your body a break. And then I always say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat my last meal. I'm going to finish by 8 o'clock. And then I'm going to eat dinner at 8 o'clock the next day. So I've got a 24-hour, but then I get so hungry.
Right, exactly. So, some people take it like over the board, and fasting doesn't really have to be like abstaining from food completely.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're new to it, if somebody is new to it, you can
Hmm.
actually maybe go for a juice fast kind of a thing, or a smoothie fast kind of a thing. And, maybe
Okay.
eating salads, which are a little bit easy to digest, and soups and broths, stuff like that. Right. Of
Okay.
course, if you can, I mean, it takes time to build up your body and your mind
Yeah.
to a place where you can actually do maybe a 24-hour liquid fast. But, till that time, you are just preparing your body to reach that stage. So
Wow.
some people just go cold turkey, and good luck to them, and, best wishes. But if you're not
Yeah.
able to, you need to honor your body also at the same time. But most of the time, it's not really you. It's
Hmm.
all these parasites that are actually in our gut lining that are sending signals to the brain. Hey, it's time for me to eat. Time for me to eat. Why don't you feed me? Does
Wow.
that make sense? And people think, oh, I'm not able to fast, but it's not really you. There is nothing wrong with you. You have a strong mindset, but these parasites, they need food. They need to be fed on. And that's why you feel hungry and you give up. So there is also, eating is one thing, but also eliminating is another thing, right?
Hmm.
So we need to focus on not only what we are eating, but also how we are eliminating. So, simultaneously take maybe some, I wouldn't say laxative, but some herbs and stuff like that, that help you to eliminate also. So that, you're able to eliminate all the gunk that is in your body, and you're able to make that brain gut connection.
What? So wow. I mean, this is like amazing. I guess it was so funny because when I thought like, what's the step to find your passion? This is not what I expected to hear. But I love this because I'm like, oh my gosh. And I know that all the listeners are going to be like, what? Hold on a second. Like I mean, this is great. Um, so for the fasting, you should fast at least one day a week. Try to get to 3 days a week, or just once a month, 3 days.
So usually what people do, the real fasters, what they do is they try to fast at least one day a week per week. And then once a month, they try to do it for 3 days. So you could, maybe a month where you're not really, a week where you're not really busy. Maybe start on a Friday and then on a Sunday, right? So 3 days where you can actually do not like complete fast, but even like juice fast or smoothie fast, something
Hmm.
like that. And then and within like 3-month period, you could actually go on a 7-day kind of a fast or a juice detox.
Wow. Okay, so a fast can be just as effective if you're just doing like bone broths or juices or teas during that time to kind of ease your
Right.
stuff a bit.
Uh, Bone broth could be a little bit heavy because it's also high in fat. So our
Okay.
also, we want to do things which are easy for digestion, right?
Yes.
So things that are fibrous, but at the same time, our system doesn't have to work too hard to break them down.
So that would be like juices, like green juices.
Green juices. I mean, fruits are actually the best because foods, you know, assimilated really fast in the body. So green juices and fruits are also great. I mean, you know, you could go for low glycemic index fruits like oranges and blueberries and stuff like that. But yes, those are also great way
Okay.
to, you know, basically
Wow.
again,
This is
giving the
amazing.
body a break, you know, from just absorbing or digesting or those heavy carbs and fats.
Yes. And then you mentioned herbs to eliminate. What are some that you would recommend?
Some of the herbs, you know, I also come from India, so we have lots of herbs there.
Yes.
But but here in the US, some of the popular ones are, you know, like senna tea. I think it's spelled SENNA, senna, or SEENA. So
SENNA, Sina.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So that tea is really good for it's a tea. It comes in tea form. It also comes as tablets, but that's really good for you know, elimination. Some activated charcoal is also really good. It doesn't really help with elimination so much, the activated charcoal, but it helps more with binding all the toxins together and taking them away. So if you have all these
Okay.
toxins in your body, activated charcoal is highly potent essentially, and it will attract all the toxins to itself, and then slowly and steadily the toxins will get, you know, you'll get rid of all the toxins in the body.
How often should somebody be taking activated charcoal?
You know, I normally say that take it at least once a week in a month or so, depending upon, you know, whatever the bottle says, because
Okay.
the potency of each product is also different, right? So it depends upon what is available to you in the market or Amazon, wherever
Right.
you find it. So it,
Okay.
of course, go with the directions that
Yeah.
are in the bottle. Really. Yeah. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I have
Yeah.
a health coach degree, and this is what I've done through my experiences, my personal experience, and that is what I like to share with the people.
This is so great. And so, as I said multiple times, so unexpected. So this is amazing. So, okay, first step to find your passion is to detox your body.
Absolutely.
What is step two?
So once, I think, once you have detox and you really know what you want to do, so what happens, you know, once you start listening more to your body, you can also start
Mhm.
listening to what really matters to you most. So let's say I work in a corporate sector, but I'm
Yeah.
getting pay, but at the same time I know I'm really good at painting, or I know I'm really good at writing. You know, your mind opens up and you actually become more creative. Okay, especially for people who are working in the corporate, they think more from their technical or the logical point of view.
Yes.
And what we really need to find our passion is to actually uh, have that balance between the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain.
Okay.
And once you start being in sync, and you know, after you detox, you also kind of, you know, create a sacred space in your house or whatever, like have a morning routine where you're actually, you know, in sync with the almighty, the universe, or
Okay.
yourself, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
You're able to get the messages from the universe, where you can actually listen to what your inner voice is telling you, rather than being distracted, you know, by the phone or by the outside voices. Because, you know, rather than waking up and going down to pick up the phone, I mean, most of the entrepreneurs have a morning ritual, right, where they maybe meditate, they go on
Yeah.
exercise, they read a good book, and they're mainly doing this because they want to really not be influenced by whatever is going on in the outside world, but actually, so basically, you know, cleansing the body and educating and meditating, these are, I would say, the top three steps.
Okay. So meditating is like that sacred space. And then you said educating, which would be like a book to guide you?
It could be anything, it could be anything.
Okay.
Some people like reading inspirational books by other entrepreneurs if they're into entrepreneurial. I
Okay.
always believe in perfecting my skills because,
Mm-hmm.
again, I come from a highly educational background with 2 master's degrees. So I have the student mindset. I
Yeah.
really like to dive deeper into my subject and learn things. So, if let's say you are good at painting or good at, I don't know, maybe cooking.
Okay.
So there is always a way to, expand those skills or enhance those skills by reading or maybe by taking certain courses or maybe, by following other people who have been there, done all that. So basically research work, the background
Yeah.
research work is really important, I would say. Even when you probably started a podcast, I'm sure you did a lot of research on how to start a podcast or how to promote it or how to market
Yeah.
it.
I'm still learning. No, I'm just kidding.
It's
No,
an
we're
ever
always
learning
learning.
process. So exactly, I mean, if somebody is in the corporate and they want to
Yeah.
really work for themselves, find their passion, that's all good. You find your passion, but do you really know how to grow your passion, right? I mean, into a lucrative career. So all that needs certain level of, you just cannot say one day, hey, this is my passion, and leave everything, right? That would be a really bad lifestyle. So
Yes.
study, research. I mean, if you need to perfect your skills by taking few courses, do that. Talk
Mm-hmm.
to other people, do your background research, talk to other people who have probably followed the same path as you. There's so many podcasts these days,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Absolutely.
so much out there. There is no, I wouldn't say there is any limit on the material available out there. You just have to
Mhm.
reach out. And even people
Yeah.
like you and me are always open to talking to other people. So, just have that confidence and reach out to people to really figure out if this would be a lucrative path for you in the future.
Yes, because I'm just thinking about, I was in finance, and then left it and kind of went down the comedy route, which has led to the
Wow.
podcast and then led to creating, trying to create and produce TV shows. And it's been amazing. Another passion of mine is skincare because I don't want to age that fast. I know I have to age, but I don't want
Beautiful.
to age. So I'm always like researching and looking and meeting doctors, and I've had a few on the podcast. And I thought, well, maybe I'll like, because people will say like, what do you use? What are you doing? What's your advice? And I'm like, maybe I'll like turn my TikTok channel into like my skincare thing. But like, I don't know. Cause I'm like, I have so many passions. Like I would love to write a book one day. I'm starting with the TV shows, but we'll see where it goes.
Exactly. I think what happens is also our passion keeps evolving and changing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, when I was a kid, was really passionate about, I don't know, making artwork, but I am not really into art at this point of time, right?
Right.
So, the way I look at it is be really good at one thing, right? If you have this
Okay.
podcast, be really good at it and then take it to a level where it kind of evolves on its own, which means you might, tomorrow you might have other people hosting the show under the next Madison show, right? Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
you could offer it as a brand, you could sell it as a brand to another company or somebody else who would like to take it over, but you have grown it to a level where people know about it, and you can only you don't really need to invest so much of your time and energy to this thing, but you can focus on other businesses, which could be like skincare or anything else that you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Because one day that's always on my bucket list. I was like, I want to have a skincare line. I just want to have one. I don't know how I'm going to get it done, but I'm going to get it done. It's on
I'm
my
sure
bucket
you
list because
will.
I
I'm
love it.
sure you will. And you should. Your skin is lovely. And
Oh, well,
I,
thank you. I'm always shiny on these things, but I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be shiny than dry. So
yes,
I'll
exactly.
I'll take it. Sorry. Yeah. And I'm sorry for my light the light is adjusting and it's like, oh gosh, we'll just take it as is, right? So let's move into the TED Talk section, because you've had a wildly successful TED Talk about finding your passion, which we went through, and I'm so thankful for that information because I'm just mind blown. I can't wait to start my detoxing. But I want to talk about how does somebody give a TED Talk or prepare for a TED Talk? Like what are the steps around that?
So essentially, the very basic step is go on TED.com, which is the TED website, and search
TED.com or TEDx.com?
TED. There is only
Just TED? Oh,
TED.com. Yeah.
okay.
So it's TED.com and look for events, click on the events tab and look for events that are happening in your area. Okay. It could be if you are willing to travel, so it doesn't necessarily have to be in your area. It could be anywhere in the world if you're willing to travel, because TED is all a volunteer organization, so they don't pay you. It's not like you're getting paid to speak or anything, right? So you have to take care of your travel, you have to take care of your boarding, lodging, everything. So if you have the bandwidth, if you can travel, you can essentially apply to anywhere in the world. Right now it's even better because of COVID, we are not traveling, so a lot of these TEDx events are happening online. So sky is the limit in that sense, because you can be sitting here in California or Arizona or New York and apply to a TEDx talk in Russia. So right, so it's a really good opportunity till the time travel restrictions are in place. But essentially, you go to this events tab, look for the events that are happening in and around you. And then most of the events have the name of the organizer or the organizing committee, or at least they have a website. Okay. So sometimes what happens, you click on that link and they take you to that website of the TED event, actual TED event. And then on the website, you have an application form. Like, hey, most of the TEDx talks have themes based on it. So for example, the TEDx might say the theme is paradigm shift, or they might say the theme is inner voices. So it will be a one word sort of a trigger for you to think. That might or might not be your TEDx talk, but the key is to submit your application catering to the theme.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes.
Right. So you submit their application on their website. If for any reason they do not have an application open on their portal, because these TEDx events are all volunteer organized events, right? So sometimes, the volunteers do not want to invest in having a fancy website or, coming up with all these forms and stuff. So the best way would be to reach out to the organizers. Some organizers have their email address on either their website or TEDx website, TED.com website. So reach out to the organizers and find out if they have an application process. And if so, you would like to apply and just, get the application and apply according to their theme, essentially. So most of the time, what I did was I created sort of a generic application to make things easier for me. I created sort of a generic pitch that I wanted to present. And then based on the theme of each TED event, I would apply and change my generic theme and cater it to their, make it more specific based on their, because essentially, the TED, the whole idea behind TED is ideas worth sharing, right? So you have an idea which you feel that it's totally worth sharing, and that is your TEDx talk, without thinking too much about it. Now, at the end, when you are actually accepted into the program or whatever the TEDx event, you can actually, present the talk based on what you really wanted to talk in the first place. But to bypass, I mean, to uh, go through the application process, it's important to be more specific based on their theme, right? So
Okay.
I came up with the generic thing, and then I would always change it according to the TEDx events. And then you essentially wait for them to call you back or email you back. And then some events like the one that I gave, they also had an interview process. So they had a written application, they also had an interview. Some of them
Yeah.
would ask for a video. Some TED Talks would ask for 90 seconds video. I had to submit a 90-second video.
Okay.
And it's really important to to stick to the time limit. If they have asked you for 90-second videos, do not give like a 3-minute video, stick to
Right.
90 seconds. The reason being, TED in itself is a timed event. Your TED talk cannot be longer than 18 minutes. So these are also all filters, right? So if somebody is submitting like a 90-second video and they're submitting 95-second video, then that's also sort of a filter, because they know that this person will not stick to the time limit or
Yeah,
has
right. Yeah, that's true. So they're only 18 minutes?
they anywhere from 5 minutes to 18 minutes, not longer than 18 minutes.
Oh, interesting. It's amazing how that brand just built and took off. I mean, it's such a cool, because now it's like, you know when you're researching something, if there's a TED Talk behind it, it's well, clearly it's been vetted and the person's been chosen and there's a reason they're giving that talk. They're not just standing on a stage. So it's
Exactly.
a really cool thing. And then let's talk about you also help people that come to you, that become clients, to publish books,
Yes, yes.
which is amazing. So if somebody came to you and just said, I let's just take me for example. I'm a comedian. I've gotten into producing. I do this podcast. I've got a filthy mind. I really want to stay young. I love skincare. I need a book about my crazy life. You would be like, whoa. Like, where does somebody start? Do you kind of coach them to get more specific?
Absolutely. Being more specific is really important, because obviously, we cannot write a book which is, of course, if it is your life history, you can talk about anything, it
Yeah.
will be like biography or the next Madison book or something like that. But I usually ask people, why do you want to write a book? Most of the people fall into these three categories. Either they want to write a book to build their brand or business,
Okay.
because book writing is more for credibility building, right? So they want to write the book to build their authority, sell more of their coaching programs or courses, so that they're seen, because
Right.
the root term in the word authority is author. So if you are an author, you
True.
become an authority in your field, right? So they
Yes.
want to be an authority and expert in their field, and that's why they want to write a book. Or secondly, somebody, they might think that they have such a groundbreaking idea or a message or a research that must be shared with the world, and that's why they want to write a book.
Okay.
Right? They are not worried about it being used as a business or a brand. They really do not care about it, but all they want is to share this message, and they will feel really happy if they have, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, they have left this legacy for the world. And the third types are neither. They just want to write a book because they have gone through something really massive in their life, and they look at writing as a way to heal. It's therapeutic for them.
Yes. Okay.
So again, they're not really worried about, sometimes they have lots of fears, and they feel that if they die with this fear, it's so for the lack of better statement, they would come back, or this fear will haunt them for other lifetimes
Right.
also. Or so essentially, they want to die peacefully, and on the deathbed they want to feel that they have accomplished something, and they have gotten rid of all their challenges in the life, and that's why they want to write a book and they want to publish it. um, because they feel that's the biggest part of their life healing journey.
Wow. So it's like a bucket list item, essentially.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And in that
Wow.
case, so then I ask them, okay, which category do you lie in? And then if they say, okay, I lie in, let's say, first category, then we change the book based on what message they have and how it can help them build their brand, right?
Yeah.
If they just want to write it for their grandchildren or leave a legacy, then maybe cater the book to um, maybe honor their family and stuff like that. So my process is my thing is to help them hone their idea. I do
Yeah.
not really write for them. I have
Okay.
editors in my team, I have proofreaders,
Uh-huh.
so they help in the writing process. I have ghostwriters also, but
Okay.
once they have written this book, my task is to help them, publish this book and get it out there and help them rank it into the bestseller list on Amazon.
Very cool. And so let's talk about the kind of go back as we finish up about the influencer and the brand. So we talked about, how to find your passion, find what you want to do. Now we're getting, you can do a TED Talk or build a book too. Those are ways to kind of expand on your brand. How do you like build a brand to expand it? And we can use this podcast for an example.
Exactly,
If
exactly.
I want to build up to be more of, on Joe Rogan's level, which is everybody's dream, of course, because Joe Rogan's amazing. Let's use my podcast. How would you build the brand?
I I am a strong believer in the community support and networking. So of
Okay.
course you have to do all the groundwork. You have to have a
Hmm.
podcast. You have to have a certain social media presence and stuff, which is really
Yeah.
important these days, right? But I think at the end of the day, you are only as strong as your community. So reaching out to people in your network who might have similar podcasts or who might have the similar vision, mission, or who
Yes.
might not even have a podcast or anything, but they really like your work and they love you for what you are and your work, reaching out to them and asking them for help to bring more visibility to your podcast, because
Hmm.
you might have 1,000 people in your network, but these 1,000 people might have another 1,000 people in their network, and then it spreads as a ripple,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
I believe strongly, of course, everything else is important, but at the end, the basic human values or the basic human instinct is, that nature of working together, that nature of, doing things together, of, having a common mission and a vision. And I feel that,
Yes.
a person can really do amazing things if they have firstly a great team, and
Hmm.
secondly the right kind of community to expand their message, and also giving back to the community. I mean, through your
Absolutely.
podcast, you are definitely giving back to the community. I mean, you're
Oh,
giving a
thank you.
platform to people like me to share their message, which is
Yes.
obviously, community service. So um, again, coming back to the way the laws of the universe, if you give something you return back multifold. So those are of
Hmm.
course great ways of reaching out and building and expanding your network and your community,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
your brand.
Absolutely. So, we are running out of time, so I want to wrap up. There's two last points or two that I want to uh, kind of drive in on. One being, how do you promote yourself without shame? Like, I think people like want to promote every day or want to do so, but they feel like when is too much, or they feel like, do they really want to see this? How do you get that confidence to say, you know what, this is what I want to put out there. I'm promoting myself and I love it.
I think, that confidence comes if you truly believe in your product and in your services.
Yes.
I come, I come from a very traditional background. We don't promote ourselves, coming from that cultural Indian kind of an upbringing, we're always a little bit hesitant promoting ourselves, right? But then
Yes.
it's like, I have a great book, or I have a great podcast, or I have a great talk, or I have a great service. And at the end of the day, I will be doing a disservice to the humanity by not sharing it, right? Because
Yeah,
I
that's a
know,
good way to think about it.
because imagine, I mean, let's talk about this podcast, and you interviewed me. It might not be useful for everybody, but it might be useful for maybe, a handful of people, right? And
Yeah.
if, let's say, we are hesitant to share it on our own, then we are doing a disservice to that, even that one person who might get just one point from this podcast, and might, who knows, his life
I
might,
know.
you
Well,
know
I think so too. He's going to get some activated charcoal, not eat for a day, and find his passion, and boom, we're going to have the next tech company.
Exactly, and sometimes see, I'm a mom, and I have two kids, and when I share myself, out of the blue, I get messages from other moms. I don't even know who these people are, but
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden they'll say, "Hey, we have been following you, and thank you for inspiring us by your work,"
Oh, I
because
love
they
that.
feel, they feel that they are. So hellbound with kids and work and family and stuff like that. So I don't have to do anything, but just by being me, I'm able to inspire another mom, and maybe they find their calling. So why should I shy away from really sharing authentically?
Yes, absolutely. Because you are, I mean, you're juggling it all. Like, how do
Yes,
you find that balance, that work-life balance?
I am very disciplined.
Okay.
I know when I have a nanny who comes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Arizona time, Pacific time, and also that was the time when kids used to go to school, but now they do not. I mean, everybody's home, so so
Oh,
I avoid any thing else, because I know that is my work time, so, and it's a lot, 5-6 hours if you get in a day. It's a lot of work time.
yeah.
Actually, we have to work 24 hours. And then after my kids are home, or I spend most of the time with them, and then do other things like my exercising and stuff like that. So discipline is highly important.
Okay.
I know between 9 to 3 I cannot waste my time in sitting and chatting with my friends, because that
Yes.
is my only time when I can work. I mean, friends and everybody I can talk on weekend or after I'm done with my work. And also, likewise, I have to have these boundaries and guidelines for my children also, that mommy is working and they need to respect my work ethics and work timings, right? So
Yes.
everything, we have to, if we discipline ourselves and we focus, then we can achieve a lot, even within as I think Tim Ferriss, he has that book, The 4 Hour Work Week. I think
Yes. Yes. Yep.
so it's we really can. And again, it goes back to that community, reaching out to people who can help you in doing certain tasks. And it doesn't have to be always on a payment basis. It could also be a trade-off. Like if
Yeah.
you are really good with podcasts, you could help this person launch the podcast, and this person could help you launch your website.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. Kind of trading, skills for skills, so to say, to help each other in
Yes,
the community.
exactly.
So, last thing I want to end with, I want your advice on how to get the heck out of your own way. Because a lot of people are the reason they're not where they want to be. They get in their own way. So, how do we eliminate that hurdle and go for it?
The way I look at it, the way I look at life is that I should not have any regrets in life, right? So if,
Mhm.
let's say, you want to start your skincare line, and
Yeah.
keep, pushing yourself back, 5 years down the line, will you be happy about it, or will you be sad? Oh my gosh, I could have done it. And then, even with all the roadblocks, if you do it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you will not be regretting that you didn't even give it a shot. So you live your life with the feeling that, yes, who knows 5 years down the line how things will be. World is changing so fast.
Oh, I
So
know.
why not just do it today? Who knows? I mean, really, in today's time, we don't even know if we are living another day or not. So why
I
waste
know.
life, right?
So with
Yeah.
that being said, I'm turning my TikTok channel. Don't judge. Don't judge. Everybody's got one. I really don't. I've got podcast videos of the podcast, some clips up there. But I'm going to be turning that into a skincare channel. So please come follow me on my adventure.
Yes.
Madison Malloy. You can watch me wash my face. It's going to be very entertaining. Maybe I'll actually be dirty on those videos. I'm so clean on this podcast. And then people see my comedy and they're like, what the? It's like, I'm sorry.
But those kinds of things are so important, especially for people like me who get so busy with the work and kids and family, that we kind of take a backseat on our own skincare.
Yeah.
And coming from person like you who is also trying to find a balance with having your comedy, your podcast, your 100 other things. And I'm like, okay, if Madison can do it and I can trust Madison, I can also do it. Sometimes we just need to listen it from a third person who is an expert in that area to really get that boost in life.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, this has been amazing. I mean, I literally, sometimes I just ask questions and I get the information, and sometimes I'm so blown away and I'm learning. I took 2 pages of notes during our conversation.
Oh,
2 pages. So, you guys can always go back and re-listen to it. Everything will always be available. But yeah, and I can't wait to start putting this advice to work. I'm gonna go. I feel like I want to go eat Chinese food right now, like John, and then detox tomorrow. I'll
yes.
text you and see if I can actually make it through, but we'll see. But I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds like I want to do that. So this has been amazing. Yes, 2 pages of notes just on you. Love it. Love it. So
and I'm looking for your videos. I'm really looking for your.
Yes, it'll come out in November. I'll start giving skincare tips and tricks and guides and doctor visits and all that jazz to kind of hold back the time, right? I mean, I'm like a Caucasian woman. We are like aging is not our friend. Right? We have to do everything we can. But the one thing I will drop on here is sunscreen every day. 365 days a year.
Okay, wonderful.
That'll be my first tip. But more importantly, where can they find you, follow you? What's all your contact social media?
So I'm on my website. It's parulagrawal.com, and I'm on social media by author Parul. I'm also on Amazon. And in fact, my next book, which is The Growth Hacking Book 2, is releasing. And it's really a great book because it has advice from some of the top influencers, digital marketers, social media experts on how to grow your business and how to be that influencer and a growth hacker and a marketer in the next decade. Yes.
I love it. And you guys, if you want a quick link to all her information, again, go to nexttomadison.com, where you can click on the episode link. It'll bring you to her page, and you can go to her website, all the social handles, find video for this podcast and audio on everything you need. You can also reach out to me if you have any questions. And I thank everybody for listening. I thank you for being my guest. I feel blessed and very lucky to have gotten all this information and to be able to share it with my listeners. So thank you.
Thank you, Madison. It was lovely being here on your show, and I'm so energetic. You're such a wonderful, vibrant person, and
thank you.
Loved being here on your show. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. And you guys listening, wherever you may be, thank you for listening to another episode of Next to Madison. And we'll see you guys next time to find out who's next. Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.